Okay, well, we're going to get started here. And as more people join, they'll just join into our meeting. You might hear a little ping or a little noise in the background. That's just somebody joining us on our tour. But I would like to welcome you all to the virtual tour of Pebble Cove Farm. My name is Erin Wygant. I work for the San Juan Islands Visitors Bureau, and we are hosting our 13th Savor the San Juans, which is our fall celebration of food, farms, and film. We so wish that we could be doing these tours with you in person, though we are excited that you all have chosen to join us today virtually via Zoom. You can find virtual events all throughout October on visitsanjuans.com/savor. We're wrapping up our fall farm tours this week with Pebble Cove Farm. Next week we have Fall Food Week, where we have a lot of really delicious fall recipes to share with you. And then 2 weeks after that, we've got our Wine Week with virtual wine tastings. But without further ado, I would love to introduce today's host. This is Lydia Miller of Pebble Cove Farm on Orcas Island.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for visiting the farm. Erin, thank you for putting this very ambitious project together. Thank you, San Juan Visitors Bureau. I'm thrilled you're at the farm today.
We're so excited to be here, and thank you for opening up your doors and letting us kind of peek around the side of the barn to get to meet your wonderful animals. We're going to go to the barn first and meet all of the rescue animals of Pebble Cove Farm. Later, then we will take a walk into the garden and get to see what Lydia has growing for us in the garden and then the orchard. And then we'll just take a tour around the grounds and get to see the water and learn why Pebble Cove Farm, or how Pebble Cove Farm got its name. But first, let's all go down to the barn, and we are going to meet some of the adorable rescue animals of Pebble Cove Farm.
Hi, I'm Lydia Miller at Pebble Cove Farm on Massacre Bay on Orcas Island. My family and I have lived on the island for almost 30 years, and we've been lucky enough to be here at Pebble Cove Farm for 15 years. It was an old barn, an abandoned property on the water, and we fell in love with it and turned it into an inn. So we have a few accommodations, and we have rescue animals that we've adopted from all over the country. When you live on an island, you have to be more careful. You try to be as sustainable as possible. So we take compost from our family and we put compost buckets in all the rooms, and we give them to the animals, and then we scoop up the poop. It ends up in a compost pile, and after that it ends up in our garden, and we get to have wonderful produce. Let me introduce you to our very old pony Buddy. He's in his late 30s, and we've had him for over 20 years. We have 4 sheep that we've adopted. These are our wonderful little pigs. They're 2 brothers. They're Juliana pigs, and their mother was found abandoned by a rescue farm, and she was pregnant, and she had 10 boy piglets, and we were lucky enough to get Bernie Sanders and Herman. Over here is Hank. We adopted him a couple of years ago, and he's a pony. Dolly is a mini horse, and we just picked her up from Friday Harbor last week from a family that was moving, and so we're really, really happy to have her here. When you enter our farm, on the gate you'll see a sign that says "Peace to All Beings," and that's our mission. And as we've adopted these rescue animals, we have grown to see the connection between what is on our plate and our love of animals. And so we're hoping to inspire guests to make that connection when they eat a lamb or pork or bacon in the morning. These pigs are so lovable. They love to be pet and hugged and scratched, and they're so trusting and so smart. So we are a vegan family, and we hope to inspire others that might be something that might be aligned with your values. If you're lucky enough to end up being an animal at Pebble Cove Farm, you're going to live a long, long life.
Bernie Sanders and Herman are my favorite pigs I think I've ever met. They're so sweet. And I'm not sure which one that it was that came up to me, but he just marched right up and stuck his little nose in my camera, and he ate the apple core that I was munching on. He was very sweet.
They're so friendly, so lovable. In the morning, I walk out and they run up to me to get hugs and scratches, and they have distinct personalities and so affectionate. And yeah, they were a great addition. Just I love them. The guests love them. They're so smart and clever, and everyone should get a chance to scratch a pig's belly. It'll
Yeah,
change your life.
how many places can you stay where you just also get to play around with some farm animals that will just
Exactly.
hang out with you? I wanted to call out, I really love when you enter Pebble Cove Farm, there's a sign that says peace to all beings. And you talked about how that has sort of informed the way you've moved forward with the farm. And I was curious how, if that ties into Pebble Cove Farm serving as a sanctuary for rescue animals, how did that come to be?
Yeah, this was a slow evolution. I have to do a shout out to my wonderful husband, John, who has everything here. It started with an idea maybe in my head, but he made it all happen. So in any case, we were city kids in our 20s, and fantasized about a different kind of life. We read The Good Life by Scott and Helen Nearing. They were pioneers of the Back to the Land movement in the 30s, and they inspired us. And we read the book, and we wanted an adventure and a change. And we left our jobs and everything we knew, packed everything up, and came here about 30 years ago. And we just knew the idea of having land and a farm and animals and growing your food just seemed like such an exciting adventure. So that's how it started. And then over time, we started adopting animals. But we were, like many people, still eating animals. We didn't eat our dog, but we ate lamb and cheese and chicken, and it was spending time around the animals that slowly changed our feeling, and we made that connection, which we just had never done, but it was a slow process. And then we stopped eating animals per se, but like for a lot of people, the dairy, that's kind of takes longer. And we had goats, and we milked them, and we made cheese, and it was really fun. And then the longer we did that, it just started to feel, it didn't feel right. You know, we were, in order to get milk, you have to impregnate an animal. And then the milk is for their babies. And so we realized when we were separating the babies and the mothers were crying, and this is what happens at most dairy farms, it's just started to not sit with us. So it was a slow evolution. Mm-hmm. And that's how it evolved. And then we started adopting goats from other dairy farms, because usually the male goats are not wanted and they're sold for meat. And so then we started adopting animals that were going to be slaughtered, and it kind of grew and evolved.
And I wanted to mention, I think one of your most recent evolutions in this has been chickens and chicken eggs, and how you've slowly shifted away from using eggs for the guests and around the property.
Yeah, that was also an evolution. So our chickens, of course, are very happy, and they're frolicking around. They're free range, of course. And we had the guests could go in the hen house and get the eggs, and that felt okay for a while, and then it started to not feel okay, because we know that our little farm is not a typical farm. This is not where 99.9% of the eggs in the market come from. And so we started to feel uneasy with encouraging guests to eat eggs, and then also kind of, by the way, you know, when you go home, this isn't the situation with the eggs. So we started really looking into what the poultry industry is like and what the egg industry is like. And it's really just such a tragedy for chickens. And we finally said, hey, you know, we're going to take the eggs of the other animal sanctuaries, cook the eggs, and then feed it to the chickens. And it's a wonderful source of minerals and vitamins for them. And we have some information on our website, and we talked to the guests, and universally, because we were concerned, people are so interested and open. And a lot of people said, we never thought about that before. And I had never thought about it before, you know. So it's just been a wonderful way of kind of introducing a new idea that maybe people haven't thought about, and everyone's going to do what's right for them. Everyone needs to find something that feels comfortable for them. And if that's what you want to do, that is fine. But here at the farm, we don't want to promote it.
No, I love that. I love too that you ended things by saying if you're lucky enough to end up as an animal on Pebble Cove Farm, you're going to live a very long and happy life. And I would love to be an animal at Pebble Cove Farm. They live the high life right there on the water. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, it's like a convalescent home here. A lot of old animals.
Yeah, I wanted to encourage anyone with a question to use the chat function. And we have one, it's not really a question, more of an enthusiastic comment. You should write a children's book. Karen is, you should be a writer.
Okay.
I'm sure Buddy and Hank and Dolly and all of those farm animals have plenty of stories in them.
From their perspective, these crazy people that are running the show.
Yeah. Well, wonderful. So please continue putting questions in the chat function. And then we'll also have a portion for live Q&A later. But now that we've met the farm animals on one side of the farm, we're going to go and take a tour of the garden where these farm animals that we just met help with some of the composting. And so we'll go see the other side of Pebble Cove Farm.
So here is our garden and orchard. And we take the compost that breaks down and then we bring it into the garden. And we're constantly doing that to replenishing the soil. We have a little chalkboard sign, and guests can get a basket and pick what's ever right and make a nice healthy meal. So here's our little sign. Right now, lettuce and rhubarb and strawberries and a whole list. And we have baskets. You can pick a basket and then take a walk and see what's right. It's really fun seeing kids come and had no idea where a carrot came from or beet and pulling it out from the ground. We don't use any pesticides. Everything's organic. When you're on an island, you realize you're on a well, so anything we would use would end up in our water or out in the ocean, so we're very protective of that. The pears are ripe, and we have so many different kinds of apples this year, which is really, really fun. Gardens are so important, especially at a time like this, to remember how we do have personal power to keep ourselves as healthy as possible. So let's all eat as many fresh fruits and vegetables as we can, because that is something we can do right now. Anyone can plant a garden. You don't need an acre of land. You could have a raised bed. You could have a few pots on your patio. Because that is something that I've gotten some peace from coming out here, and when I feel overwhelmed, eating a bunch of broccoli tops.
I have not had broccoli tops. I hadn't heard of broccoli tops, but now I think I need to go find some broccoli tops.
And you had them, weren't they sweet and
They were
delicious?
so good. I was so impressed. And I really loved what you said about anybody can have a garden. You don't need more than an acre of land. You can have some little pots, and how important that is, especially right now. I feel like we're all sort of rediscovering hobbies or getting into new hobbies that keep us safe, keep us healthy. And I really love what you're promoting with gardening. And
Yeah, I mean, it's very empowering to feel like, what can I do? There's a lot I can't do, but I can try to keep myself as healthy as possible.
Right. I wanted to ask you, you mentioned having guests be able to come through the garden and pick whatever they'd like to make their own dinner. I know that all of the rooms have a little kitchenette in them, and was just wondering if you have any favorite garden recipes that you share with your guests.
Well, I'm not a recipe person, but I just love going in there, picking whatever's right, sauteing it, lots of garlic, of course, but there are a lot of things that maybe you don't think of, like the broccoli tops. When things start to overbloom, like they're no longer producing the broccoli, you've got these wonderful broccoli sprouts, and I don't know if you noticed, but they're buzzing with bees. Um, beets, beet tops. You know, nature makes it. We're supposed to all eat it together. There's enzymes in the beet tops that help us digest the beets. I just picked a bunch of carrots and I took the tops and made a carrot pesto. So you can use almost everything that you pick. So you don't need to throw out the green part. You know, the tops are wonderful to eat.
Ooh, I had not thought about that. That sounds really good. We mentioned now that guests can come through and pick things for their dinner, as well as meet the animals. I was wondering if you would tell us a little bit more about the lodgings, how many rooms you have,
Yes,
what sort
we
of
have
activities are.
5 accommodations. They all have kitchenettes. We have barbecues, shared barbecues, and the basics to make a very lovely, simple meal. And that is, I think, a pretty fun, unique thing. Anything in the garden is up for grabs. Go for it. And happy to help you, show you what's right. The board will tell you, but a lot of people need a little guidance, and I love to show them around the garden.
Yeah, no, you've got such a beautiful property too. There's this really sweet little cottage in the back of the orchard that guests can stay in. You've got a lot of different places that are either tucked away in a sweet little spot or looking over the water, which is where we're going to go next, is down to the waterfront and hear a little bit about Pebble Cove Farm, just from its beginning stages and how it came to be.
When we first moved here, we wanted to name it, and we were throwing out a bunch of names, and we have this beautiful little cove, and there's little pebbles, and that's how we got the name Pebble Cove Farm. It's 4 acres, and it's much bigger than one family deserves, so we really wanted to share it and thought of the idea of having guests come and appreciate it and see what we're doing here. And it evolved, and so this is our 16th year. We are really trying to be very careful about having all natural products, taking care of the land, taking care of the water, taking care of the animals, taking care of ourselves, taking care of the planet. And we are very appreciative for the people that come and stay here. And this farm has enabled us to raise our 3 boys on the island. And every day we wake up and look out and think we're so happy to be here, and love the farm, love the animals, and love the people that come and visit.
I love that. And that's such a sweet little spot you've got there right on the water that just overlooks. You guys are on Massacre Bay, and it's just this beautiful little tucked away inlet on Orcas Island. In that last little segment, you mentioned raising your 3 boys on the island, and that just got me thinking about what it would be like to raise a family on an island. And I was just wondering if you would elaborate on why you chose Orcas and what that's been like.
Yeah, we came here and we didn't know anyone. We didn't have one friend. We didn't have jobs. We didn't have one person to call for advice. And this was all new. And it just, it seemed like a neat place to have a baby. And my kids were born on the island. And it's a pretty terrific place to raise a family, for sure. And I want to say that we didn't know anything. We had no idea what we were doing. We didn't know about gardening. We didn't know about animals. We didn't, when we started to have the idea of the inn, we didn't know about that. We just did it. We just tried. And, anyone can just try. If there's something that excites you, just do it. Just do it. If it's something you believe in, that's important to you, your creation, you will have boundless amounts of energy.
And you have taken that boundless amount of energy and created such a beautiful place for people to come generation after generation. I was wondering if you would share with us a little bit about the visitors that you get. I know that you've had weddings at the property, beautiful weddings. You just had a new yoga studio built on the property. So I was wondering if you would tell us about some of the different things that have happened at Pebble Cove Farm.
Love to. Yeah, we've had weddings and anniversaries. I think we have honeymooners here now. Graduations, retirements, family reunions. Some people come every year. We have guests that came as couples, and now they have teenagers, and that's very disconcerting. So it's really been wonderful. And we're very excited about the yoga studio, and not just yoga, but meeting and wellness retreats and book clubs and quilt clubs. And we're very excited about that and how that evolves. We've gotten to know people over the years, and it's really been neat. I mean, we've definitely met some very, very cool people that have inspired us, for sure.
Right. We have a question coming in from the chat box, and please, anyone, feel free to ask your questions there. But we have a question from Barbara asking where you came from before you lived on Orcas Island.
Yes. So John and I are from LA.
Quite a change.
Yeah. We grew up there our whole lives, and thought this will be a fun adventure. We'll try it for a while, and it's 30 years.
Wow. At this point, I would encourage anybody who would like to unmute yourselves, and feel free to ask a question with your voice if you would like, or just say hello with your camera. We'll open it up to Q&A. If anyone would ask a question. I was wondering if you would share, as a seasoned islander, if you have any insider tips for people on their next trip to Orcas Island, if you have certain things that you think are must-dos or must-sees while traveling on Orcas.
Well, hiking is pretty incredible here. Just a few minutes away, we have the trailhead for Turtleback Mountain, one of my very, very favorites. And that's nice because for us with 3 kids, and the little ones at first couldn't make it very high. So within a few minutes, there's a sweet little bench to sit and relax. And then you can go a little farther and a little farther, or be very ambitious and go all the way over. So hiking's fantastic. Kayaking is fantastic. Hey, listen, it's such a beautiful place. Oh, island life. There are a lot of very eccentric, strange people that end up here. I think that's part of the charm. You have to be a little off-center to end up on an island. So lots of neat, cool people, creating, artists, doing interesting things. Orcas is incredible.
Orcas is the gem of the San Juans. That's, you guys have earned,
so they say.
Earned that name. We've got a question coming in from Karen saying, I'm coming from Alabama. What is the easiest way to get to your farm?
Okay, well, the easiest way to get to any of the San Juan Islands or Orcas is fly from Seattle, or you take the ferry from Anacortes, which is about an hour and a half north of Seattle. Also, Allegiant is flying into Bellingham, so check out if that is near you. And also the Everett Airport, Alaska flies there, and then you bypass Seattle. So yes, it's an effort to get here, but it is so well worth it. The reason it is so special is because it's an island. If there was a highway and you could get here easily, it would not feel this way.
Absolutely. And you had said something, I think when we were in the orchard, you said when you live on an island, you have to be more careful. And I think it just speaks to what you were saying, and that the islands are so special and you just have to be so careful with them. And I really appreciate the effort you guys are taking to be careful with Orcas. We have a question from the Garango family. Hi guys, it's so nice to see your faces. Asking, are you able to grow and harvest produce all throughout the year and through the winter?
That's a really good question. We have a shorter season than some places. So I would say we put in a greenhouse a few years ago, and we can have greens all year in the greenhouse. Lettuce, maybe some kale and Swiss chard. Definitely that's about it for the winter. We have our tomatoes in the greenhouse now. So even though the weather is changing, we'll still have tomatoes at least through the end of the month. So yeah, there are a lot of things we can't grow here unless it's in a greenhouse, like melons and peppers and stuff. So there is a period of time where it is just greens for sure.
Yum. Sounds great. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to unmute yourself if you'd like to ask it in person, or keep using the chat function. Okay, if we don't have any more questions, then we will say, oh, we do have one more question. Are animals able to stay outside all winter?
Yeah, well, yeah, they have a barn that they can go into, and that's always available. But yeah, year round, they're out, and we let them out on the lawn, and guests can play with them and interact with them. And then we put them in at night. We lock up our chickens because we have raccoons.
Oh.
But you know, animals don't care about the weather.
Yeah.
Not like us.
Steven is wondering where you find all of your rescue animals.
Yeah. So sometimes a farmer will contact us. Sometimes another organization, Humane Society or Rescue Farm, will contact us. I'm always looking around and researching. So lots of different ways.
And we've got a question from Carol asking, what is the best time of the year to visit Orcas Island?
Well, good question. I think the shoulder seasons are really nice. So March, April, September, October, even into November, it's quieter. It's beautiful. You've got the seasons. The ferries are less crowded. There's still a lot to do and see, and you might just have to bundle up, but it's a wonderful place to be here. And even in the winter, you know, make a fire, get in the hot tub, cozy up, and there's, yeah, I would say any time, but the fall or spring is just really lovely here.
I agree. I think spring is so beautiful. Everything's so lush and green, and you get the new flowers popping up, and fall is full of just gorgeous food. All the farms are harvesting at that time of year, and everything, the leaves are changing, and it's a really beautiful time to visit. Looks like Barbara's got a question. We've got a hand up.
Question. Yeah, if you stay there, so you always have to make your own food, or is it more like a bed and breakfast? So breakfast you have to make yourself, all the.
So you don't have to. We in the kitchenette we provide non-dairy milk and juice and granola and some snacks, of course, all vegan. And then you're welcome to cook if you want, or you can go to one of the amazing restaurants we have on the island. And then, of course, pick what's over in the garden.
Right. Cook yourself. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Barbara.
Right.
It is. I can testify that the apples in the orchard are so good. And then I think Bernie Sanders or Herman ate the rest of mine.
So what do you mean by broccoli tops?
So broccoli plants, when they're sprouting, they're sort of finishing their season, they flower, and the top of them get tiny little beautiful yellow flowers, which attract the bees, and we want the bees in the garden. And they're actually very, very sweet, and they're wonderful to put in a salad and just eat like a snack.
Know something new?
Absolutely. Do we have any further questions or comments for Lydia? Great. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. We so appreciate you visiting Pebble Cove Farm with us via Zoom. We hope that you will join us for future virtual events. We have events all throughout October. Next week, we're going to be baking chocolate chip scones on Monday, pound cake with Eden Wild Inn on Wednesday, and then we'll be making our own homemade pasta on Friday next week. We hope you will join us for those fun recipes. And then 2 weeks after that, we have our wine week with 3 different wine tastings, one on Orcas Island, one on Lopez, and one on San Juan. So we hope that you will join us for future virtual events, but are so glad that you were able to join us at Pebble Cove Farm today.
Thank you all for Zooming in. Appreciate it. And thank you all the guests that have been here and continue to come. You enable us to do what we're doing and rescue more animals. Thank you, Erin.
Of course, my pleasure. Thanks, everyone. See you later. Have a great day.